The revolution is open source, and we are going to talk about the revolution. The revolution is not on CNBC, it's not on television, and it's not being created on the NASDAQ, as I've told you for 5 years. The revolution is not on the NASDAQ. And we're going to discuss why, because we're going to do a deep dive into Alex Karp on CNBC, because we now have a Jim Cramer moment. They know nothing. Remember that from 2008? They know nothing. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wilkins strolling through Watts in a red, black, and green liberation jumpsuit that he has been saving for just the proper occasion. Revolution is not on the NASDAQ. Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, and Hooterville Junction. Revolution is not a C Corp. And women will not care if Dick finally got down with Jane on Search for Tomorrow, because black people will be in the street looking for a brighter day. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is not a C Corp on the NASDAQ. There will be no highlights on the 11 o'clock news and no pictures of Harry women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose. The theme song will not be written by Jim Webb or Francis Scott Key, nor sung by Glenn Campbell, Tom Jones, Johnny Cash, Engelbert Humperdinck, or the Rare Earth. The revolution will not be televised. So the NASDAQ needed a bubble, and they made one called AI. You will not have to worry about a jump in your bedroom, the tiger in your tank, or the giant in your toilet bowl. The revolution will not go better with coke. The revolution will not fight turtles that cause bad breath. The revolution will put you in the driver's seat. The revolution will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised, will not be televised. All right. So this is going to be a little bit long, but I gave you the highlights at the beginning. The revolution is not on the NASDAQ. The revolution is not OpenAI or Anthropic. It's not anything American, because America is not open source. America pretends to be open source. That's why the revolution is not on television. And tomorrow you're going to see the Luciferian freak show, formerly known as America, in its 250 birthday non-event. No one's going. Nobody fucking cares. Trump is a cunt. They can't even get Vanilla Ice to appear. Vanilla Ice won't even play tomorrow. No one. The revolution is not going to be televised. Trump is a cunt. Say it 3 times with me. Trump is a cunt. It's going to become a thing. It's going to become a meme. You watch. Now we're going to go through this thing with Karp, and I'm going to suggest you think about it on about 3 different levels. One, if you go back and listen to Jim Cramer, the famous thing with Becky Quick, she was in her giraffe costume, which is itself is a meme, and his voice cracks. That to me was the most interesting thing. His voice cracks. Jim Cramer I'm talking about. Alex Karp talking about American AI. His voice cracks. Remember, this is the guy who wrote the book called The Technological Republic, said we don't need Washington, D.C. anymore. We don't need a president. We don't need a Congress. We have tech. We have AI. And we're going to go to war with Russia, China, and Iran, which we now are. We're now at war with all 3 countries. You don't understand the one with China, but I'll explain it to you, because the revolution is not on top. It's not televised. It's on social media, open source social media. Remember, TikTok was open source, and they had to shut that bitch down. Right? So it's Friday. It's the market closed. You're probably having a drink. I had a glass of milk, so I'm not. But we are having a little bit of fun, and hence the shiny glasses and so forth. Because you do have to keep your wits about you. You have to keep your sense of humor. So 1, you got Alex Karp. You can just listen to his tone. 2, you can hear him explain what he has no filter. He's slightly insane. I don't know if he's on ketamine or what he is, but Alex Karp is like the philosopher king of what America has become. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to mansplain to you what America has really become. And it's not for pussies. And then thirdly, we're going to talk specifically about the tech. Because if you listen, we're going to do like a 2 minute, 40 second thing on CNBC And if you fade away and you want to go have a drink and sit outside in the sun, that's fine. And then I'm going to go into the longer one. And it's at the end of that that Karp explains that the open source models are coming from China. See how this all fits together? Ours need to run on the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ had to have a bubble, and I'll explain this at the end. The entire war on terror requires this NASDAQ thing to be heaved and hoed, okay? Up and down, because it's being run not like Exxon makes oil and revenues and earnings and cash flow, like Warren Buffett stuff. That's not how the world works anymore. The world works with derivatives. And they didn't build AI and create a bubble. They needed a bubble. Trump went, unbelievable. We did. No one's, Trump is flying in a plane made by a foreign country. You understand that, right? President of the United States is in a flying object made by Qatar. But that's for tomorrow. So we're going to hit this on 3 levels, but the open source is coming from China. Alex Karp is the guy who, he has no filter. He doesn't hide anything. We were going to use AI to go to war with Russia, China, and Iran. Now, you didn't know Iran was going to happen. I did, because I know who really runs the world, and it's not Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Okay? So I don't know, I don't know where you are with your geopolitical landscape, but if you think we're going to win this fucking thing, the revolution is not going to be televised. Okay? And you're about to hear the architect, the Heinrich Himmler of America. Go read his book, The Technological Republic. It's a polemic. And the most important takeaway from it, as we get into the second video, you're going to hear him say this. He doesn't really have a rational explanation of why this is going wrong. His whole, I don't want to give it all away, but his whole concept is we should just let the tech run itself. And what I'm here to tell you is I'm the only guy on the internet that explains this to you. America's entire tech thing is war. If you're comfortable with that, if you think we're going to go to war with 7 billion people and win, I'd like you to make me the same cocktail you're drinking. Because you've lost your fucking mind. But, he's hard to listen to. He's super intelligent. It's almost scary how intelligent he is. But you want to hear the truth, it's going to come out of his mouth, because he can't control himself. Okay, that's the big long one. No, that's not that one. Mr. Schnardley. There it is.
What aligns me with NVIDIA, and I think is what the technical customers want, which is control over their compute.
Just listen and I'll explain.
Their models, their data stack, and their alpha. They want to know they own the means of production. It's not being transferred to someone else. They're not interested in some fake deploy co that somehow is deploying tokens that transfers the alpha to a third party. And the jig is up. And so we have to figure out a way, both our products are agnostic. We now sell a product to customers that allows you to switch from model to model, and we're completely agnostic. But we need to rebuild trust. And that trust is going to happen where everyone gets to ask and answer basic questions. Who owns the data? Where is it cached? Are the prompts secure?
It's not open source.
Transferred to you. Are you being okay? If it was so valuable, let's say I can make you $1 billion right tomorrow. Wouldn't I say?
Okay. What he just laid out to you is the problem that even, we have internally. Should we use this AI, that AI? Who's going to run the books? Who's going to keep records? What he's explaining is, if everything runs on a C Corp, now his is the only AI C Corp that's been successful. Anthropic and OpenAI cannot go public. They cannot become a C corp and go on the NASDAQ and go ding, ding, ding. There's no capital for them. Okay. People just saw what happened. The finances aren't there. It is so outrageous that Microsoft would get up and say, we're really decided to look at some Chinese open source models. Okay. And then a week later, he gets up, I forget his name, CEO of Microsoft. He gets up and says, each company is going to have its own AI model. What he is delivering to you is that the entire American AI project has failed. The whole NASDAQ and the whole stock market is based on this. This is 2008 with many more zeros. If you're up to it, there's a guy on Substack who's just like unbelievable. I just found him. It's called Groundbreaker. Go read his shit about AI. It's 2008. It's not a dot-com bubble. It's a 2008 bubble. Anthropic and OpenAI are, your Bruno, or you have some sort of enterprise and you're going to hook up with them, and then they're going to run your system and make like this deploy code. They're going to make like some sort of fake merger between them. They're going to look out for, everybody knows this about Amazon, is you get Amazon Web Services and then they sit and watch your business. And then if you're selling more widgets through Amazon Web Services, they just go start making the fucking widgets and put you out of business. This is America's business model, because we don't really compete on anything anymore, people. We don't compete in anything. Cars, AI, we compete in killing people. That's what Palantir does. In terms of like having a company and connecting it to American AI, it's done.
I'll make you $1 billion and I want 30%.
This is what he's.
Why are they charging for tokens if it's so valuable?
So then, Alex, if the key, from what I'm hearing you say, is a secure, American-born, open-source model, how quickly can your model
Doesn't exist.
compete with the frontier AI
Well, no,
models in
what
terms
I'm
of
saying is
reasoning
that
and agentic AI tasks?
okay. What I am claiming, obviously slightly
Listen to his voice.
true, but slightly self-centered, is it's the model plus an application layer plus compute. It is really all three. So in our jargon, it's the value, the reason, okay, just look at our financials. The reason why everyone is chillaxing with bad financials and growth while losing money is the client refuses to pay the true cost. The two places that
This is
actually
Jim
make
Cramer.
money, like profit, free cash flow, are our application layer called ontology and compute. Okay, what I am not just claiming, we can take an open model and in the classified or non-classified context, get it to the point of a frontier model. But you control the weights. So what is the true cost? Not just what you're paying. The true cost is is what you make minus what you lose, meaning the value of your business. But we can get the frontier application to be exactly the same as a frontier model without the risk of transferring the alpha of your business to another.
He's telling you that there is no C corp. When he says frontier model, he means like a corporation that has this thing that you buy into, like you buy Microsoft Office or something. And what he's saying is the Chinese open source stuff like DeepSeek, Kimi, there's one called ZAI, there's like 5 or 6 of them. They're 95% cheaper. And he's telling you, we can take one of those cheap things and by training it, if you tune in Sunday, I'll explain how we can all do this together. What he's saying is Palantir can train these supposedly lesser models that aren't burning through billions and trillions of dollars. I mean, I looked it up this morning. DeepSeek is owned by one 35-year-old Chinese guy. DeepSeek, which is crushing all the American AI. One fucking Chinese guy did it. Trump, $22 trillion. Unbelievable. Nobody's ever seen it. And one fucking Chinese guy beat him. Beat us.
You could do this with a frontier closed model too, but then the clients have to be able to ask and answer very basic questions. Are you keeping the data? Are you going to enter our business? What do you are in the classified context? When the Department of War goes to you and says, "I need this application," do they get to control the weights to do it, or do you get to control the weights?
It's just like
really
blockchain.
outsource?
IBM has a blockchain.
This country
Microsoft has a
to the
blockchain.
consensus
Nobody
view of
uses it.
Silicon Valley. That is effing insane.
There's where we are, folks. Just a reminder, the ETF passive nobody's home world of investing is in the United States is $20 trillion. 20 trillion. The NASDAQ is 40 trillion. And Mr. AI just said it's effing insane. Musical interlude. Let's lighten up a little bit, shall we? Remember this one? This is probably the best summertime song of all time, right? I forgot it. It's... Mr. Schnardley, can we get rid of the
one of the most exciting,
the Disney ad? Okay. Remember this one? This is the best summer song, guys. I have to go with the glasses again. Okay, so we're gonna do, if you want to tune out here and just like digest everything. By the way, that's all on Zero Hedge from yesterday. You can go watch it yourself. The next video I'm going to play is long and gets really into the weeds. And like if you're into AI and tech and investing, I really think you should take the time to hear him out because he can't shut himself up. I don't know if it's his personality or he's on ketamine. Do you notice that he keeps saying we? He doesn't mean Palantir. He doesn't even really mean the United States. He means his technological republic. Now remember, as we go into listen to his thing, we're at war with Russia, Iran, and China, and it's being run by Alex Karp, not Donald Trump. Alex Karp is running the war against the three most powerful nations on earth. And he knows that we're losing. And the big punchline is you can see what's happened to Iran. At best, it's a stalemate, right? The thing with Russia appears to going to escalate. Like it's completely fucking insane. The Europeans are going to put $800 billion together. Putin just spoke to West Point, whatever it's called in Russia, and just said NATO is getting ready. Europe is getting ready to go to war with Russia. Alex Karp is shooting the missiles and the drones at the fucking apartment buildings and the refineries in Russia. Can you fucking imagine what General Marshall or General Patton or General Eisenhower would say about this? Why do you think they have that asshole Hegseth? We're fighters. Why do you think they have that guy running the fucking thing? People, this is worse than 1776, worse than 1860, worse than 1929, worse than Pearl Harbor, all at the same time. And it's all being run by this asshole who you're about to listen to. Or we could just listen to this. Okay. Okay, the headline on Zero Hedge, by the way, is, quote, something has gone completely wrong. Palantir's Alex Karp goes ballistic on OpenAI and Anthropic. And then they came out with on Twitter, they came out with their 9-point AI sovereignty manifesto. This is borderline, not just political, this is borderline like a religious thing. That's what I've tried to explain to you for the last couple of years. Alex Karp wants to use technology like a religion. Like there should be nothing that the technology should not answer to anything. Constitutionality, morality, anything. If you read his book, it's a polemic, and it basically says, what are we doing letting some geeks at the Silicon Valley decide how to use this stuff? Just let it go. I'll give you the highlighted parts. Your AI sovereignty dictates your institution's future. That's what I'm telling you. It's not, the revolution is not televised. The revolution will not be on the NASDAQ, because if it's run by a C Corp, why wouldn't they take over your business? Data retention is your treasure. Token maxing hijacks your value orientation and decreases your institutional fortitude and intelligence. Controlling your weights is controlling your fate. Weights are the distilled form of hard-won, accumulated institutional knowledge. And if you want to understand what that is, tune in on Sunday, because I'll mansplain it to you, because this is exactly what we're doing. There's no contradiction between sovereignty and alpha. Alpha is, Coca-Cola has an alpha ability to make sugar water better than you do. No matter what you're ever going to come up with, Coca-Cola will either buy you out or replicate it, and you'll lose. That's their alpha. It's a term that comes from finance. It means your ability to outperform the market. Politicizing the technical issues involves sovereignty is what your adversary wants. And this is interesting, isn't it? I'll get to that. Allowing politicians or favoritism to determine your technical decisions regards whoever is best at politics, not whoever is right. Listen to those closest to the problems, not those speaking most compellingly about them. Sort of a weird point that's not. Learn from institutions that are winning and have consistently delivered. Judging something as right or wrong based on who you like is exceedingly misguided. See, this is where all the morality and politics has to be pushed aside. Again, Palantir is primarily a kill chain. It's primarily a weapon. Palantir's AI is a weapon system. And I don't think Vladimir Putin thinks that Donald Trump or America is his enemy. I think Vladimir Putin knows that Alex Karp is his enemy. Data from OpenRouter shows Chinese models capturing a rapidly growing share of global token consumption, in some periods exceeding 60% of the top models. Microsoft, as I've told you from 2.5 weeks ago, is considering a Microsoft-hosted, fine-tuned version of China's DeepSeek. Coinbase Brian Armstrong revealed the company cut internal AI spending by 50% by defaulting engineers to Chinese open weight models ZAI and Moonshot, which is a KIMI product. Cursor, bought out by SpaceX, is a fast-growing AI coding startup, built its Composer 2 model on Moonshot KIMI, which is a product created by Alibaba. They're already leaving the American. What he's explaining to you is that we have lost the AI war. America has lost the AI war. But it wasn't like a soccer game where we just go home and drink and have fun. This is a real fucking war with missiles and shit. And kids in the rubble. You understand that, right? And what Alex Karp is saying is our fucking AI is failing, and my warfighter thing is therefore going to fail, and it's also going to fail the financial markets, because I'm the guy who told you that the NASDAQ is the war, and now he's telling you the same thing. Mr. Snardley, hit it. Mr. Snardley, refresh the Zero Hedge page, please. By the way, this is not on premium, so anybody can read this.
Clockbox Palantir expanding its partnership with NVIDIA to build custom AI systems for the U.S. government. That stock shooting up. It's up again this morning, up almost 6% this week.
I don't understand the NVIDIA thing because
Karp Palantir's co-founder and CEO at CNBC's
long term, they're not the best chips, but that's all right.
Joins us and tell us about
this. Is a little long.
With there's so many things I think we all want to talk about, but let's get to the NVIDIA deal first.
Because I have so much respect for NVIDIA and Jensen Huang, I'm going to try to keep this more adult than I usually do. But the truth is, if you want to know how this came together, from my perspective, there's a lot of technical issues. Who controls the models? Who controls the weights? Who controls the value of your business? But we're sitting on critical infrastructure across America, Ukraine, Israel. Everyone who uses LLMs on the battlefield runs on top of our ontology. And
this is the war. There's not like ships and cannons and shit. This is the war.
Effectively, it's like there's just a level of discomfort and loss of trust that also made it really, really.
Unpack that. What do you mean by that?
Well, so when you're using large language models, at this point, everyone technical realizes they're like a critical resource. To make them valuable in an enterprise like battlefield context or regulated context or manufacturing, you have to have what's called an application layer. We have this thing called
Sunday.
Now everyone's copying. But de facto, it takes a large language model. It makes it safe and useful and precise. So safe because it doesn't touch your underlying data. Safe because it prevents the large language model from caching your data and replicating your business. Safe because it doesn't transfer your IP of how to fight, secret data, top secret data, or in a clinical context. So the general way these things were sold, and again, these people are, Sam and Dario, there's nothing more fun than debating Dario in private. So I'm not throwing shade at them. But
OpenAI and Anthropic CEO.
The basic view among enterprises in this country is I'm going to chillax and waste my time with tokens. I'm going to get no value, and they're going to get my IP.
Now that sounds like shade.
Okay,
and not just shade. It sounds like you're saying these.
No. Sorry. This is reporting.
Okay,
and this is reporting that I've literally, against my own interest, called. These are like I'm profiting from this, right? So the reality is, you may not like us at my former school, Haverford or Berkeley, but enterprises in this country trust and love us, especially ones that are involved in critical infrastructure, both public and private. Okay, so I want for those countries, we're coming up to July 4th. I want for us and our friends across the globe to have the very best tech resources. In fact, the whole secret of Palantir is the forward deployed model, the products that have been 5 years ahead. You've been with me for a long time. Everyone said FDEs were services. They said we don't even know what an ontology is. That's the only thing people talk about now. The secret was we delivered the best things for the warfighters. Those warfighters have serious trust issues, but it's not just the word vis-a-vis Frontier Labs. Then you have my enterprises in the private sector who have the same issues. Like, why would they get access to my data if they're going to build my alpha? Why wouldn't I control the weights? And that's where you get this partnership. What aligns me with NVIDIA, and I think is what the technical customers want, which is control over their compute.
I think I get it now why he's going right to NVIDIA. It's like the thing from the Untouchables, like if you don't want a rotten apple, you go right to the tree. He's telling you that OpenAI and Anthropic and these American he can't use Chinese shit, right? To like blow up Iran, right? They have to use American stuff. So he said, I don't trust any of it. So I go right to the source. I'm asking NVIDIA to build my system from scratch. Now I get the joke of why he's talking about NVIDIA. And they can spool up the horsepower the fastest. He doesn't have time like Google and Apple did to go build their own chip, their own, what's it called, system on a chip. We're at war. You get this, right? Like we need to replenish the stocks because we're going to go in 60 days, we'll be back at war with Iran. And then they're going to escalate Russia. I have to give a shout out to this brilliant woman on here. Her handle is Lily357. I don't think the 357 means like a handgun. It's just how it turned out. She's the only other person on the internet that I've ever read that says the war is being used to like heave and hoe the financial markets whenever the treasuries come due. They have to blow shit up to spook everybody back into the treasuries, back into the bond market. And then the next morning, Trump comes out and says there's a ceasefire to make the stock market. So it's like being in a canoe and rocking it and think you're going to get to shore by rocking the canoe left to right. That's how the financial markets are being run right now. They don't have anything, people. They don't have anything. That's why he's going to build the whole fucking thing from scratch with NVIDIA.
Models, their data stack, and their alpha. They want to know they own the means of production. It's not being transferred to someone else. They're not interested in some fake deploy code that somehow is deploying tokens that transfers the alpha to a third party. And the jig is up. And so we have to figure out a way, our products are agnostic. We now sell.
You heard this part earlier, but hear it again.
To switch from model to model and we're completely agnostic. But we need to rebuild trust. And that trust is going to happen where everyone gets to ask and answer basic questions. Who owns the data? Where is it cached? Are the prompts secure? Is this being transferred to you? Are you being okay? If it was so valuable, let's say I can make you $1 billion right tomorrow. Wouldn't I say I'll make you $1 billion and I want 30%? Why are they charging for tokens if it's so valuable?
So then, Alex, if the key, from what I'm hearing you say, is a secure, American-born, open-source model, how quickly can your model compete with the frontier enterprise in terms of reasoning and agentic AI tasks?
Okay. What I am claiming, obviously slightly true, but slightly self-centered, is it's the model plus an application layer plus compute. It is really all three. So in our jargon, it's the value, the reason, just look at our financials. The reason why everyone is chillaxing with bad financials and growth while losing money is the client refuses to pay the true cost. The two places
they don't have a business
make money, like profit, free cash flow, are our application layer called ontology and compute. Okay, what I'm not just claiming, we can take an open model and in the classified or non-classified context, get it to the point of a frontier model. But you control the weights. So what is the true cost? Not just what you're paying. The true cost is is what you make minus what you lose, meaning the value of your business. But we can get the frontier application to be exactly the same as a frontier model without the risk of transferring the alpha of your business to another. By the way, you could do this with a frontier closed model too, but the clients have to be able to ask and answer very basic questions. Are you keeping the data? Are you going to enter our business? What do you in the classified context? When the Department of War goes to you and says, "I need this application," do they get to control the weights to do it, or do you get to control the weights? Are we really going to outsource the battlefield of this country to the consensus view in Silicon Valley? That is effing insane. And by the way, every single enterprise in this country in private, a lot of them don't want to speak in public because it gets outsourced to the neurodivergent crazy person that apparently is on drugs. The one thing I don't do. Okay, so that's my role. But I'm telling you, in this country, at every single enterprise I deal with, these people are livid. They're like, I am paying for
Jim Cramer.
Create no value. These people are stealing the weights and alpha of my business, and they're creating a wealth tax that does not help the poor. It just starts with the billionaires. Every single person at this table is going to be paying a wealth tax only to punish us. And the reason for it is because these models have been completely irresponsibly oversell. And the sell is it's dangerous for everyone, which is why I can give it to all your adversaries, but I can't give it to the Department of War, or I can't safely give it to an enterprise in this country without being certain that the alpha of that business could transfer to this model tomorrow, i.e. I have no business, no job.
You sound pretty angry.
No, this is the voice of
same person
business that is being channeled through me. And I'm telling you, it is absolutely a problem for this country because we are on the cutting edge of every single AI technology. But if you're going to triply oversell something, and by the way, the enterprises are just tired of it. But by the way, just a minute. I want everybody watching this, to test what I'm saying, especially investors who think somehow this is working. pick up the phone and call a CEO in private.
This is exactly what Jim Cramer said in 2008.
Call 2 or 3 and say, Madman Karp is on TV saying we're livid. I'm not going to quote you. You know I won't quote you. You have an history. And see, they're twice as livid as me. Like,
so if you're right, though,
it's I've listened to it 4 times. Like this is. Oh, I have to change glasses. You really don't even have to be financial to see what's going on here. Okay. He is telling us that when he said the jig is up, right? Mr. Snarley? How about, I think it's getting too long. I think we should stop there because that's exactly, and I think it was Jim Cramer and Becky Quick. And now it's Alex Karp and Becky Quick again, right? By the way, I've seen Becky Quick in person here in San Diego at the Charles Schwab convention. She's a knockout. Like from 100 yards away, you're like, oh my God, is that Becky Quick? Not that that's important, but I just... The whole thing started, you have to work backwards. The Trump administration came out, they're instituting this new thing that started with the technological republic and just ended with, as we'll talk about this tomorrow, with the merger of Israel and the United States. You're aware of that, right? You understand that the sovereignty of the United States has been done away with. It's over. Okay? And everything has to run on this new technological system because this is how we're going to take on the world and really not just take on the Muslim world, take on Iran, which is the most powerful part of that, and China and Russia. I think I'm going to take a break here and I'll come back and I'll post another piece maybe in 20 minutes. And I'm going to do the part about China and I'll give it away before I do it. So I'm going to try to make it a little bit smaller for you. Okay, we all know what the war with Iran looks like. Grok was used in the first part of the war, and the idea was, like what Palantir did in Lebanon, we tried regime change by just removing the leadership of Iran. It clearly didn't work, okay? So then the thing went into this other thing of this massive exchange. We'd fly over and blow shit up primarily with jets. Trump would say we've destroyed their Air Force because they don't have an Air Force. Because you have to fly the jets across the desert for 6 hours before there's anything to even hit. So Iran made missiles and can hit anything and everything in the Middle East whenever they want. I don't know how AI solves this problem. So then they're going to amplify the thing. If you look at the cities, I forget the name of them, in the Donbass, which is the Russian-speaking part of Ukraine, where the problem first started, there was like a anti-Kiev militia that Putin then later supported. That whole city is about to fall. So the entire Ukraine war is a complete disaster. That's why you're hearing all this stuff that Putin's about to collapse, Putin's about to collapse, Putin's about to collapse. You got to remember, when you turn on any sort of English-speaking media, it's war propaganda. Okay? You're hearing things like there's a glut of oil. There's not a fucking glut of oil. Okay? There's just not a glut of oil. There's a lot of things in the universe that are like sort of hard to understand, but there's not a glut of oil. Okay? But the real problem, and this is where he is at the end of this, and this is the scariest part. It's not just that OpenAI is basically worth zero. It's not worth $1 trillion. It's worth zero. And that's what he's trying to explain to us. The real problem is, and this is why his voice cracks, this is why he's saying he's saying it's basically his project, the Technological Republic. He's at war with the 3 most powerful nations on earth. And he's telling you, that we're going to lose. They don't even have the firepower. American corporations, the Defense Department, don't even have the firepower, the AI firepower that China has. Well, let's think this through for a minute. Do you think that people in China are not smart enough to say, well, they just killed the leadership of Iran. They're blowing up the refineries and apartment buildings in Russia. We're fucking next. So why don't we make sure we win the AI war? So we are at war with China, people. And the reason his voice is cracking is because as of July 4th, 250 years into this experiment we call the American Republic, we've lost. See you back in, I don't know, half an hour or so. What time is it now? Well, let's all calm down a little bit and pop back in here if you're in the mood at 2 o'clock my time, which is 18 minutes from now. And we'll do the end of this video if you want to watch it first yourself. And we're going to finish with the thing about China, which is going to tee up Sunday. All right, see you in 18 minutes.